Hey, Ines.
Hello, Thor. How nice to see you. Very,
Nice
very
to
nice
s-
to see you.
nice to
You.
see you again too.
Thank you. Do you have sort of a red stripe around your shirt? It looks very nice.
It's pink, this one actually.
Just pink. It
Yeah, it's
doesn't have
just
sort of
pink.
a very
No, no,
nice.
no. This one is just pink, which I quite like. It's probably my favorite shirt. It's sort of oversized.
Yeah,
It's a vintage Valentino,
very nice.
which
Very,
is
very
which is
nice.
quite nice. I suppose in so many ways we're matching, right? Because you got a yellow one, don't you? Yeah, have you
Yes,
got
I have sort of yellow. It's sort of I don't know, terry towel type of thing. Yes.
nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's warm.
Yeah.
I'm marginally cool this morning.
Yeah, well, it is
Yeah.
surprisingly cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what you were just saying, that this oversized Valentino shirt you have on, it's the nice casual look.
Yeah.
People look so cool in them, just sort of la da 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 da, but smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
just
smart.
threw it on basically.
Yeah. Oh, very nice.
I
Have
didn't
you
even think
ever
about it.
gone through some of the charity shops?
Say that
They
again?
have things like the Valentino,
Well,
thing.
that's where it's from. Yeah, it's from a charity shop. Yeah, yeah.
Which one? Which part of town?
Oh, it's so funny. I actually bought this. Do you remember when you had your group in South Bank?
Yes.
I actually once bought it on the way there.
Great.
And I can't remember where though, because it was like, yeah, because a friend of mine and I just walked past this random charity shop, and we just walked in, and I wanted to
Fab.
get like a salmon pink looking shirt for a really long time, and there it was waiting for me. Bam.
Perfect, perfect. Portobello Road, of course, and Knightsbridge, they're really good to go to for charity shops. Very, very good places.
Yeah,
Sometimes the labels are even on.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And you can get
that's
it's
good.
madness, isn't it? Because you can just get like really high quality stuff for a buck, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yes. And also the vintage is coming back for men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the vintage stuff is very sort of, it doesn't matter if you or I wear it, it just looks so good because it's a
Yeah.
little bit oversized.
Yeah.
It's not tight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice. I
Exactly.
like that.
So this week we've tried something slightly different, haven't we? We put out some
Yeah.
questions. We put like no, I was going to say a questionnaire, but we put a poll out on our
Yeah.
Instagram to harvest some questions from our listeners, and we've got some really interesting and good questions coming through. So Ines, do you want to ask the first question that you
Yeah.
got through?
Yeah, I don't mind because I love your questions as well. I mean, there's just where do you begin? They're all so pertinent. And the one I think I'm going to focus on because it's spiritual link. Let us say, what is the point actually in what we're doing? If this area always says, well, karma is preordained, we have to finish something. So why do we bother, linking in with the Godhead or the guides or anything like that? If nothing can change anyway. That is a great question that I got because
Hmm.
sometimes when we're into our mind, we're trying to improve our attitude, I think is the most important thing. But let's
Hmm.
say you have a bad attitude. What difference can it make if you have a bad attitude or good attitude if you're going to fulfill your karma anyway?
Exactly. It's such a good question. So what are your thoughts?
Well, mine, before I ask you your thoughts about it, is that I think how we go through life is important from our point of view. The most important thing now is us right here in this space on earth. So that's very important. And if we find a little bit of happiness, it makes life easier. However, what I do know, or I've been told by the guides on these fab questions, is that nothing is set in stone. So by, let's just say, meditating, coming to terms with some horrific difficulties, terrible things that happen to people that are, communicating to us, is that it can actually move your karma forward. So that if we put our best foot forward, it does change. We can change.
Hmm.
Everything that we need, everything the hurt that we have, the enormous anxiety that people have 24 hours, 24/7 is known. It is not discarded. But if we somehow manage to harness that ourselves, that's our strength. Yes, I'm going to meditate, even though I think nothing's going to happen. I think it's pointless, that type of a thing, but I'm going to try anyway. It's our effort that can actually change that. And that change, it doesn't come from the guides, obviously, but comes from that total force that is in charge of the karmic pattern, such as I've mentioned this before. Someone is dead, clinically dead. They say they are dead. There they go into the little refrigerator, and then also knock knock, woo woo, and all of a sudden they're awake. It's the same comparison as who was that chap that Jesus brought to life? He was. Anybody listening who knows the Bible story? Anyway, he said to the woman who came distraught to him, "Oh, don't worry, he is well, he's alive," and he woke up. I won't tell you how that worked at the moment because of time, but it's the same scenario. If the electrical connection between ourselves and our spirit around us is not severed, there's still this link. That means clinically, even our little mechanisms cannot detect that. That is beyond anything. So anyway, that man goes knock, 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 knock. And what has happened in that person's subconscious mind, they have either come to terms, whatever it is, they have progressed into that state of what they were meant to learn, and their life has been extended. It's all a learning process. So nothing is set in stone. That much I do know. We do complete karma. But how we complete the karma can vary, not in the way that human beings can understand it. So the effort that we managed to do to get through, let's take now, it was a horrible time, of the anxiety of work, the anxiety of hideous bills coming through the door, because the tax man has been very busy, double whammy, tax bill. Then he wants another half a year ahead of time, another tax bill. Where the hell are people going to get money from? Even if they've maintained their normal job. Relationships have gone AWOL. They've gone south as well. There's anger and everything else. If you can, in that turmoil, which is meant, can find that modicum of peace, you have won. Your life has won. And that is why, even though it is, say, preordained, that's all we understand, we should still try. We should still try to do our best to keep our head above water. It may not be a sufficient answer, but it is very much worthwhile from our point of view, from a human breathing, emotional, painful point of view. We are suffering. Many people are suffering. I told you that I had some people, 8 people in the garden, and one young woman, well, she's not that young. Her son's whatever, he's 26, so whatever age. And she's just coming back from Brazil. She's Brazilian, she's married here. And her one and only son was actually killed through an accident, somebody carelessly driving in Brazil. And she went there for the funeral. She's been gone out for half a year because of the pandemic and lockdown and so on. And how, she's coming back to a loving husband, but, the pain, this is only one instance. And I know some people who've lost their job. They don't know how to pay the rent. And there's agencies, you heard about that everybody says so many things. It's not always possible. You can't even get a doctor's appointment without going online. And that's complicated as well. It's not just easy, this and this you have to fill in. The app, the NHS app, I think it's been revamped a little bit, but it was telling people to isolate. I think over 1 million people were told to isolate, which need to isolate. So our trust is corroded in governments, in people, in your life. nobody's looking, nobody cares, the guys don't care, God doesn't care, that type of thing. But that is why we are doing what we are doing, and that is why you, Thor, are still exercising, which is a good release, and that's why you're also meditating. That's why I exercise differently, but that's why I'm also meditating.
Yeah, I suppose the thing is like, the question is, why bother when karma
Yeah,
is preordained? I think
yeah,
the thing is, though, I suppose as human beings, we don't actually know. We don't know what the lesson is, right? We don't know. Probably don't even know after we've passed away. I suppose the thing is, in so many ways, like value systems are also different throughout the world, right? So what's bad to us isn't so bad to someone else, and vice versa. Obviously, there's lots of suffering going on, and also at the same time, I think we as human beings put a label on what's good and what's bad and what's suffering and so on and so forth. My assumption is that to spirit, all of that is neutral.
it is neutral. No
All of
one's
that
good, no
is
one's bad. That's what,
it's just experience, right? It's just experience, and
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it all works, and maybe you do, but as you've said many times before, like when we die, our sort of experience goes with the spirit that is around us, and all of that is, I don't know,
Absorbed.
contributing,
Yeah, that's
absorbed, right?
pot of gold. That's our bank account.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, again, the spirit experience is just experience, and we
Yes.
label it as good or bad or whatever,
Yeah.
you
But
know.
we still have to get through life, and that's why that, as I said last week, that all of the forms of, call it concentration. Concentration leads to meditation, leads to anything, whatever it is, singing, counting beads, dong dong dong, doesn't matter, totally irrelevant. But that still leads us into a form of meditation. That's why the whole world has different ways of doing, but the whole world is doing the same thing that we're doing. Different method, different approach, but we're still all doing it because we
Yeah,
all need the same thing. We need to
yeah.
hang on to something.
Yeah, and we can get that through the meditation and
Yeah,
choosing to do so, right?
yes. But then
Yeah,
also there are many podcasts. You listen to a lot of things, don't you?
yeah.
So other people listen to a lot of things too. It's We're all working together.
Mm,
I mean, the people that are listening now, the ones that gave us all of our questions, so on, we're together in this.
mm.
Doesn't matter if you're the listener, if you're the speaker. It doesn't matter. We
Yeah,
still
absolutely.
support. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, like I said, like spirit is neutral, but as
Yeah.
human beings, we are definitely not neutral, right?
No,
We're just not made that way,
that's right.
We see good and we see bad, and yes, there may be different values around the world, but we see that, and if I if I seemingly have a choice in the matter, I want to do good, improve my attitude, and help other people.
Yeah, that's right.
If I can choose to do
If you're meant
something, I
to.
want to do that.
Yeah, but helping people can also literally a slap in the face. Come on, you're not pulling your weight. Get on with it. Sometimes to be cruel is to be kind.
Mm.
So again, we come to the viewpoint of what is kindness, what should and shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not very black and white, is it? It's very much
No.
gray. It's
Yeah.
very based on the individual and what that individual needs in that moment in time.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And of course, to be able to follow your own path, to be who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But also society puts down, right, this is correct, we need rules, but also society also tells us what is good and what isn't bad.
Mm-hmm. And that's questionable sometimes.
Very questionable. If we go to the East, um, I'm not involved with them very much, but from what I've read and so on, they often say, I mean, they have it's amazing attitude, only the bits that I've read, that it is God's will. They say if somebody say has passed away or something, it's not that they don't grieve or that they don't feel hate to say the enemy, but they still have a very strong connection with the fate of what they feel, that divine force that guides them.
Mm.
And sometimes I've seen this in London when I went to groups, the inner cities, hard up inner cities. And these are ethnic individuals, only to try to accentuate that very, very, very low income, needy individuals. Sometimes for what I charged for the groups, which wasn't much, one of the ladies actually went out, they don't do it anymore, and sold flowers. You know, the women that go in, or men, young men, they go into restaurants and they say, here, this for $5, you can buy a rose for your lovely lady. That's what she did in order to afford to come to be part of the group. And I did not charge very much. It wasn't a $5, I'm just, taking a number. And, but their attitude was, I felt such kindness coming from them. And there was a smile on their face. I don't know what they had in their fridge or how they were going to pay the rent. And they were not necessarily on benefits. So it's an attitude of mind.
Yeah.
And they loved life. They just loved life.
Yeah. So that's maybe perhaps that is the message from this question, is to just love life if you can.
It's a gift. And apparently it's also a gift when you're the unfortunate individual that is so in pain with illness. But again, that pain, when you said, when we say reincarnate again, it's not a choice like looking through a catalog. It's not that we are totally responsible for what we choose. It is the spirit around us. It's not a negotiation, but we also agree to come down to be the leper, to be that person who is from birth, has 20, 30, or 40 years of, being the odd person out, needing medical attention, needing help all the time. It is such an immense lesson, spiritual lesson, that to elect something like that, the spiritual growth is so immense that we all have had those sort of lives, or will have those sort of lives, that we elect to do that for the benefit of progression, to go across the barrier. Once we die, yes, say there's a revolving doors, in, out, but there comes a time when those doors revolve out into another dimension. And I once asked the guides, do I know anyone? I was thinking, say, of history books or something that we've heard about. Do I know anyone that is across the barrier? They called it the barrier, where there is no message. Mommy and daddy are not going to say, hoo-hoo, that is it. However, what they said, I knew my last life was as a Native American, and they said it was Sitting Bull that I knew, but I didn't necessarily want to know if I knew the person. I just want to know psychologically, have I read about anybody that's gone across the barrier? So it was Sitting Bull. So I'm able to determine a time span as well. And that, Indians, if I just take that individual, those nations, not what they are now, they hard lives.
Oh my God.
They may have eaten when the buffaloes were there, and they managed to hunt a buffalo for the tribe. Then there were berries, there were roots and other things. But in the winter, there wasn't very much. Even the beef jerky or the, whatever elk jerky that they had didn't last very long. And they were wolves, they were predators, they were bears, everything was there.
Yeah.
So we do choose. And if we take into account just a little bit of choice that we don't know about now, that you would have preferred being Paul Getty, Michelle Pfeiffer, all those nice, handsome, beautiful, successful individuals. Maybe you made the best choice because it's spiritual progression. And that's, in the end, that's all that matters. We can't take our bars of gold with us. Nothing.
All of that.
Except what we've got in here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry I waffled.
That's right. I think it was a well-rounded question. So perhaps moving on to the next one now.
Sure.
So
your turn.
Yeah, I was thinking about the sacred sites question, because I think that was a really fascinating answer, or sort of discussion we had before we started recording. Yeah. So, what is it about sacred sites? Will you get more spiritual by going there? And because obviously in England you have places like Stonehenge, and people flock there like there's nobody's business. So what is it about sacred sites, and is there any difference?
Well, that's sort of a twofold question. A sacred site, well, if we take Stonehenge, we take St. Paul's Cathedral, we go to Rome, we go to other churches, we go to mosques around the world and other places such as Stonehenge. Every country, every nation, every group of people have their seers, have their holy men or women. Man, when I say man, I use as human being, mankind. I'm not trying to be sexist. Everybody has them. And these monuments, such as Stonehenge or say St. Paul's, and also in Siena, in Italy, all these big places all over the world, they're all built on PowerPoints, ley lines, and then they have a PowerPoint. So that's why that happens. That's why they're there. The other sort of areas of having cited the Virgin Mary as an example, where is that? It's not, come on, it's just gone out of the window. This is in France. It's a healing site. And again, say a young girl saw the Virgin Mary, and then it was declared sacred and holy and so on and so forth. That is created by an intent. The mind needs that. And then all the people that go there have the same situation in mind. Oh, this is holy. This is where she saw the Virgin Mary 250 years ago. So blah, blah, blah. Everybody's still hoping to say that type of a thing. And what happens, of course, with like minds, we can create that feeling. It is no more holy than you hanging over your kitchen sink and saying, hallelujah, my family's well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It also becomes sacred because that's the only place you can say that. Say you live in a really tiny place. So it doesn't make any difference. It's the attitude of mind. However, because of this attitude of mind, there have been some known cases of healing. The healing occurs because of the trust that the person has in that environment, nothing else, which then that trust triggers off our own healing situation. And that is when that occurs. Another person may go in there and say, rubbish, I don't feel anything, because their mind is in that place. So it doesn't take away, but try to keep in mind, in perspective, what is and isn't holy. A lot of, I have a lovely neighbor, and they have their little shrines. I don't know if they're Muslim or whatever. Anyway, they have a little shrine. And because I work with a lot of, mainly from India, Sri Lanka, stuff like that, and they have their little shrines. And in their homes, and then for grandparents, parents, whatever it happens to be. But that little place is sacred. So in essence, they're creating exactly the same environment in that little tiny space as we would do in a grotto where we saw the Virgin Mary. We happen to like the Virgin Mary. We associate with that. They don't. They associate with something else, just as strong. So we're all doing exactly the same thing. So that is then a sacred site.
So you can make it up.
Yeah, it's the mind. And I think I mentioned you before, Thor. Our mind is so strong. And don't any of you who's listening say, oh, my mind isn't strong. I can't think very straight. I forget everything. Bollocks. Just forget it. It doesn't make any difference. All of our minds have the same capabilities. Is that when I did a lot of exorcisms with Owen Potts, my partner, we went to a lighthouse. And this man called us in because he saw the lighthouse is round, obviously. The staircase is going up. And in between, there are windows going up. And every window had a monster type of face. We saw it as well. And anyway, but there weren't any monsters there. There weren't ghosts there, nothing. It came from the imagination of the lighthouse keeper. He was afraid, and the mind is so strong, you can project an image. So with that in mind, and our mind being so strong, let's project a positive image for ourselves. If we're afraid of something, say we're going to fail, I'm going to fail, nothing ever happens to me, I'm not lucky enough. Guess what? You're going to fail. easier. You might fail anyway, even with a good, positive attitude. But that type of a failure gives you knowledge on what not to do next time. If you have a fear factor, you don't even see the positivity of having a failure. So with sites, all of the churches, the mosques, and all the holy sites around the world are all built on PowerPoints because everybody has a seer. Everyone has that type of a mediumship personality around them. The other areas, what you think is holy, is only holy to a group of certain individuals.
Yeah. So just to round that question up in my, so obviously like, no, I was going to say, oh, lots of people meditate at home. I suppose a lot of people do meditate at home. So let's say you go to Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Will you have a better meditation because you go to Stonehenge than I would have in my bedroom?
Maybe because of the PowerPoint, that's all. If you're allowed to even hang around there.
Yeah.
But it's the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
The PowerPoints that we, our little island, I'm including Ireland because we're all sort of broken away from the continent. I don't mean with Brexit, just naturally, geographically. We are so, I'm not saying this because I'm blowing into our own trumpet, has nothing to do with that. But our little island is so powerful. The reason we had foot and mouth disease, because we are the lead in changing things. Things change usually through not deprivation, but through necessity. It's usually not very nice. Every other place may also have had foot and mouth, but that also includes Ireland, of course, or Wales. Or Scotland. I'm not taking away. I'm just clubbing us together. We are the PowerPoint at this moment in time. And that's why so many things happen. I mean, for a little, for us, how can we compete in the world market? But small, but we have incredible talent. And that incredible talent is from every single country because of the diversity. We're so cosmopolitan. Doesn't matter what skin hue you are. We're all the same and so bright, so hugely bright.
So what was your next question? What was your next question, Ines, that you got through from the listeners?
Well, there's so many. It's really hard to choose. I suppose, what was it? I was thinking of your question. I suppose I was talking to some women, this little party that I had. There was equal amount of men and women. But then we were very generally talking afterwards. And why do I always make the same mistakes? That type of thing. Or say attracted to the same individual who might be very wrong for your style of life. Either they're too bouncy, too laid back, or aggressive, all of those sort of things. What do you think, Thor?
Well, it's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously, I mean, sort of on a physical level, on a physical level, like obviously in psychology, they will see that you repeat patterns, basically. It's like you're repeating patterns. But I suppose there's something which could span across from a past life as well, right? In so many ways. Would you say so?
Well, it could be. I think it's more likely that if we say, for us, we make the same mistakes, is that we haven't come to terms with acknowledging and dealing with that type of situation.
Right.
So we go
it's like
again
a karmic lesson.
Again. Yeah,
so
again.
It's like a karmic lesson to do it again and again and again.
Yeah, we haven't done the first time. So either standing up to the bully, as an example. Well, I'm putting my foot down. I'm walking out. And usually it's put into such a difficult situation. Then you have to say a child. You don't know where to go. You have not enough money to do anything. So often you stay put. Whereas in theory, you should put your foot down, take the bull by the horns and leave and see where you're dumped. Literally easier said than done. And that is the karmic lesson that tends to be why we're always repeating things.
Yeah. Obviously, that sort of eluded my brain, but that's obviously the answer is like you haven't you basically just haven't finished your karmic lesson. You haven't done.
You haven't learned it. Yeah.
You haven't done your due diligence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So get on with it, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Finish your karmic lesson, huh?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Which is obviously easier said than done. I mean, it's really easy to sit in our office or home and be like, go on with it. It's always much harder, isn't it? From
If you
experience,
don't
it's
have
much harder.
family to support, or if you don't have the money,
Yeah.
it becomes a really difficult
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
And often
Exactly.
even
Yeah.
we stay in jobs because of security,
Yeah.
or we're lonely and we feel we've had some connection with whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. It is really, really tough. But I suppose in so many ways, again, that comes to meditation, right? Because the thing is, through that meditative practice and through finding some of that calmness within, there's at least, I mean, I think at least you can build up some sort of, I want to call it spiritual strength to
Mm-hmm.
take that next step that you need to take. I hope.
Yeah, a shield. And also, there's absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever. I should say, help me. I need help.
Yeah.
In your mind or out loud, whatever works for a person. Help me. I need help. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I am afraid to do this or that. Ask, 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 and ask.
Yeah. And then eventually, hopefully, it will come clear.
Something, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And make that a ritual
Yes,
habit or whatever to just ask for. I mean, I love that phrase that you said once, which is like to be my guide, be my help.
yes,
You
that's
know, you
right.
said it
And
once, and
yes,
that's really
and
stuck with me.
this is what I was told literally. If you have a space, just to open your arms, be my guide, be my help. I need you, which
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
That's thing.
Yeah.
But also not to forget just a thank you. If you have eyesight, if you have hearing, if you have health, if you have a strong back, if you have some sort of a job, thank you for my food, for my water. It's the safety. We're not in a war zone,
Mm.
maybe a psychological war zone, but we're not, and bombs are not falling on us.
Mm. Exactly. So I think we're going to take like one more quick question and round up
Okay.
today. I thought I was going
Okay.
to ask the question around what kind of questions can you ask the pendulum, you know, because that came through and people love the little pendulum, you know, you can sit with it there and it can like go in
Yeah.
circles and whatever. So Ines, how safe is it to ask your pendulum questions for life?
Well, okay. I who meditate, or for da 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 da, for how many years? Da 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 da. Out comes my pendulum. If my mind isn't clear and I want something, it'll give me my answer. And I've
Yeah.
had that proven, and it must be so wrong. I went back to the guys, hey, I'm getting the wrong answer. What am I doing wrong? They said, your will is stronger than that of the pendulum. So it is not terribly good. All I'm saying, be cautious about it.
Yeah. Be cautious,
If
people.
does he love me? Does he love me? Yes, 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 yes. Even if you're nice on firm sort of table or something, there you are, limp. But our brain is electric, so out it comes, and then you're there very, very patiently, and then it goes, and it's a hard one.
Yeah.
It really is a hard one. However, I'm only taking myself, and I'm joking around a little bit. But we went to St. John's Wood, very well-known business person who is on Forbes and other magazines as well. And we came in there. The first thing Owen said, he had on a lovely, he had a suit on and he had a watch chain. And he said, the end of your watch chain is a pendulum. And that man, he said, yes. All of his decisions were made with a pendulum.
Wow.
And so that man had trained his mind to let go of this looks better, I like him or her better, this company I like, they've never screwed me, they've always been honest. He was able to remove all of those physical thoughts and allow the pendulum to be guided. So yes, it does work, but we need the strength to remove our mind
Yeah.
from our own priorities, what we want.
What we
And
want.
that,
Yeah.
yes, and then trust in yourself.
Yeah. So it
That's
is
why
possible.
with the
Uh,
development courses that you have undertaken, that I have led for many years, and other people, trust yourself with the answer.
mm.
That's why the exercises are done.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
way.
Exactly. So, what positive message do we have for the people for the week?
Best things come to us gently.
Nice.
Yeah. No, sorry, I have down here. Better things come to us gently. Better
Better things come
come
to
to
us
us gently.
gently. Yeah. Love it. Yeah, that's really nice. Better things come to us gently. And I think another message is also just like you said earlier, love your life.
Yeah, you have to.
Embrace
That's
it.
hard. Yes, yes. The breath of life, apparently sometimes the reincarnation process can be a very long time. Not that it's in our terms, in years, but we don't necessarily realize the extent of time as we see it, because time is a circle. However, when we are up there, apart from sometimes needing to be acclimatized to God, I left the earth, type of thing, then we're very anxious to get back into the swing of things. Next lesson, come on, come on. I want to go across the barrier. One more time. So
Great. Well, this was lovely, Ines, and thank you so much for everybody who sent through questions. Keep on sending questions, and
yeah,
we'll cover them.
yes,
And we'll be back again next week.
absolutely. And also, if some of the questions haven't been answered totally, or you want to go on with the question, let us know.
Yeah, and we'll pick it up.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, team. Bye,
Bye bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.